Today is the 31st of August, last day of the summer apparently, and it's time for yet another not particularly interesting, very vague and probably quite boring vlog. The difference with today's video as opposed to all of the others I make actually is that we're talking about something that really maybe I should talk about more often, and that's the work that I do outside of YouTube. Unsurprisingly, the main job I have is not as a videographer. You've probably guessed that by now. If you don't know that, I'm not doing this on a professional basis. Obviously, you get some money from YouTube, but it's not at all the main source of income that I have. I source cars from private clients. That's actually what I do. And this week I've been privileged to actually do a job for an old friend of mine who I knew way before I operated in this sort of area. And actually I've sourced a car for before. So back in 2021 I found her and her husband a Kia Venga automatic. I used to source an awful lot of iX20s and Vengas. In fact, I probably would source a lot more if I were asked to find a sort of sensible family car for people, because they're very, very good cars. Unfortunately, what happened, they live in southwest London, and the Venga was written off by a bus, which was most unfortunate. I think she was stationary at the time, so it wasn't their fault at all. But they needed something else to replace it, and they wanted something a little bit larger. So I had a sort of look about things that might be a bit larger. It wasn't so much the sort of overall size of the car, it was more the width actually, to fit 2 child seats and also somebody else in the back. Sometimes they have 3 adults and 2 of the children child seats in the car. And they said, well, actually thinking about it, the Venga wasn't quite wide enough to do that comfortably, so maybe something else. And I found out actually that there weren't that many cars with sort of overall compact size that are much wider than that. You've got things like the kind of classics, the sort of Suzuki Vitaras and Vauxhall Moccas and SsangYong Tivolis, MG Genesis, things like that, which perhaps might have fitted the bill. Then we've got sort of slightly larger MPVs. Now this is a market that's very, very much shrinking. Back in 2015, when the Venga that they had was registered, there were loads and loads of little MPVs around, Ford B-Max, C-Max, Vauxhall Riva, Vauxhall Zafira Tourer, loads more than that as well. These days, the only one that's really on the market that I can see, I think the Mercedes B-Class has either been discontinued or will be discontinued, is the BMW 2 Series Active Tourer. That's it. And they didn't have a budget for it as a brand new car, which is fine. I don't normally source brand new cars anyway. So I thought, okay, what are we going to do about this? The thing we're going to need to do is just look at some width dimensions. And we're only talking like 10-15 centimetres between a lot of these cars in terms of our width, and that doesn't really mean that the interior is much wider. So the only thing we could do was sort of guess, and also kind of just fit the child seats in each of the cars as we went round. So the majority of the cars were at small independent dealerships in southwest London, which is fine. It's a sort of classic search that I do, and yeah, but we found several of them. First of all, was a car that's very rare, and actually I really like the look of these, and I've sourced one of these before. A 2017 Honda Civic Tourer with a 1.8 engine and an automatic gearbox. Those are really, really good cars. I should probably do a review on one of those if I can find one. I've driven both manual and automatic ones of those, and they are superb cars. I'm really disappointed that Honda didn't continue those beyond 2017, because they're just excellent cars. They're very reliable. They drive really nice. The manuals, 6-speed manual, and they have a good degree of equipment. The dashboard's a little bit weird in those, but you get used to it. Lots and lots of space. But unfortunately, we got there and put it with child seats in, and put in out in the middle, and the car wasn't wide enough really. So that was a shame, a real shame. We didn't even bother driving the thing because there's no point if you can't fit the seats in. So next we went to see another small independent dealership, a Vauxhall Zafira Tourer. I also quite like Zafira Tourers. They're one of the most affordable ways to get a 7-seater, and often they're one of the only options for people to get a 7-seater under about £10,000. Obviously you can go higher or lower. You can get them under 5,000 actually these days. I think they came out in 2011, so they're quite an old design. In fact, one of the sort of later designs that was on General Motors platform, based on the Astra J, and they discontinued them in 2018 because, of course, when Peugeot Citroën took over in 2017, they didn't really want to pay the license fee to General Motors to continue to build them, and by then they were trying to get people to buy things like a Crossland instead anyway, which is based on a PSA platform. So yeah, this is the 17 registration. It was one of the sort of later ones of the facelift that came, I think, in 2016. Nice looking car. One strange thing is that the previous owner had painted the wheels like an anthracite colour. They originally would have been silver. That's not really my taste. I mean, it is a white car, so it sort of looks okay, I suppose. But apart from that, it was pretty good. It was so it was a nice specification. I think it's an SRI. The 1.4 turbo engines, they can have a couple of problems. One of them is with the timing chains on them. This one seemed okay. You can actually, if it starts to rattle, you can hear it anyway. But more common on the normally aspirated engines, I think, for timing chains than the turbo ones, as far as I understand. I could be wrong about that. The other thing, though, is the turbo itself. Now, this is a very well documented issue on the 1.4 Family Zero engine in these, with the turbocharger, and I think on these things like the Mockers and the Corsas, it's a bit more difficult to do the turbo than on the Zafira Tourer. That's quite a large engine bay in there. It's a bit easy to do it. I'm not saying it's the most straightforward or cheapest job, but what I would say to people, if you buy a car with one of these engines, that you just keep some money to one side in case you have problems with the turbo or the timing chain. Generally, apart from that, I think they're okay actually, which is good. So saw that, seemed to quite like it, which is good. Very, very good value. This one was a 17 registration. It just had a new MOT, and it was about to be serviced, and had 4 brand new tyres on it. And it was just under £10,000, which I think is all right. I mean, I've got to remember it's an automatic we're looking at, so anything with an automatic gearbox in London to petrol is worth a lot of money. If that had been a manual, it'd be maybe 7, 8. Now we're talking sort of 10. So it's just sort of the way it goes with stuff like that, really. And a lot of us actually do are in London. A lot of people want automatics. Some people don't. Some people specifically say I want a manual, which is fine. Sometimes I want a manual in life. But this is an auto. So that seemed okay actually. There was a couple of cosmetic marks on it, but apart from that, nothing really, I don't think, to worry about too much. Then next I'll actually go on to the last visit we did first. The last visit we did was to another small independent dealership in South West London. Took a Mocha, same engine and gearbox as the Zafira. 2015, this one, it was sort of like a brown colour. Just a brown colour on a Mocha isn't too bad. It's quite a sort of tasteful brown colour. So that's not a problem. That's fine. Again, couldn't get the seats in it. Very much like the Civic Tourer, or probably worse. So that was easily sort of discounted. And then just before that, we went to see another car, which is really the subject of this video, and why the video is titled what it is. So back in 2018, with another client, I went to Car Giant, which is in White City in West London, and I don't find Car Giant really the best experience at all. They kind of make things deliberately confusing for you when you arrive. You can't take your car in very far, and the person who's with you knows less about the car than you do. They don't know anything about them whatsoever. It's really strange. They have so many things on site, you just let you wander around, and if you say, well, I don't think I like this particular car, they'll just keep you there and try to sort of make you stay, which is, it's not my favourite really. I'd really prefer people not to do that. It just takes sort of too long. The client I was with was very, very, very generous and let it sort of go there, because I knew it might be bad, and it was bad. But we went to another supermarket in southwest London. I won't say which one it is, and it was sort of similar. It wasn't quite as bad. I mean, one of the things that was really bad about Car Giant was just being said, oh yeah, the girls in the SUV and 4x4 section over there, off you go, here's the keys. It was like, right, okay, so you're not coming then, right, okay. And we found out it was right the other side of the site from where the main building was, which was pretty awful. This was fine. They actually brought the car out to kind of viewing area, so you don't have to go and find it yourself. They did bring it out, which is good. And the cars were very, very well prepared. The place is really, really smart. They offer you kind of, free water and coffee, and we have a little 100-inch touch screen for you to look around and see what stock they've got and things like that. But really, the thing that annoyed me was we had an appointment. I always make an appointment, but the chap who was dealing with us, he didn't know anything of what was on the screen. Like, if you can use a website, then you can sell cars, pretty much. You know anything about it whatsoever. I would have thought that like somebody would have briefed him as to exactly what we were looking at and things like that, but nobody did. And I found that quite disappointing, really. We also waited 25 minutes for them to get the car out. And, 25 minutes is the normal time that I will take a test drive and a look around the car in and a look at the paperwork. So, real sort of, delays and things, really, from my point of view, for no particular reason other than that they just want to keep you there and make you feel a bit sort of confused when you have to do stuff. So eventually we got out to this Vitara, and it's very nice. It was a very new one. It was a 2019. Of course, it was an automatic, so they're more expensive. 1.4 SZT, which is the mid-range one. But yeah, it looked fine. It done 45,000 miles. For some reason, the service history was a bit lacking. There was an initial PDI of the car had been registered originally by Suzuki UK. So there was an original PDI from when they'd put it on their fleet, and it had obviously gone to a dealer after that, but there was no service record until they'd serviced it themselves a couple of weeks beforehand, which for a car you're asking, I think £12,000 for, it's 5 years old, I think is a bit disappointing, that actually they're trying to have that sort of money. But yeah, it was immaculate. It was in very, very nice condition, but the chassis didn't fit, and of course, at that point, it's like, okay, we need to leave, and they just wouldn't let us leave. It was just wasn't good. Like kind of, they asked me what I did when I was looking under the bonnet. I said, like, I find cars for people, private clients. That's what I do. It's my job. And I thought by then, they might have got a clue that they didn't want to waste their time, but they sort of tried to look on his phone for other things that might be suitable when I'd already rinsed their site and other sites anyway, so it was pointless them doing that. It just made me feel like I don't want to come back here again. It's the same as the previous time we went to a car supermarket. You just, they're just there designed to sort of take as much of your time as possible and not let you leave, which I don't like. The attitude that the first place I was to Victoria was really, really good. It was a small, probably family-owned dealership, thinking just near Croydon, and it was really good. I'd happily buy a car from there. Like they were excellent. They were really kind. There's nothing more they could have done for us, really. It's a shame that the car didn't fit, because the car was really nicely presented. It had all the history with it and everything. It was a really nice car. It's just sometimes there are more practical things you have to take into consideration. So in the end, I went down for a second viewing later on in the day with my friend. I'd been with her husband in the morning. He had to go to work, so we went with her. We bought the car. It was a Fieratura, which I hope will be good. We've taken our like sort of warranty on it, because they're just not 100% sure about these turbos and things. And so if they have that, and also put some money aside in case there are any other issues, which is a good piece of advice that Matt from High Peak Autos, he always says that, which is super advice for anybody owning a car. I think we'll be fine. She seems to get on with it. She's a bit concerned about the size of it, I think, compared with the Venga, but she's got 7 seats now, so actually the adult can go in the middle row, one of the children can go in the back or something. It's got 3 rows. I think it'll be fine. Anyway, that's quite enough for now. Thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment below, and we shall see you again very shortly for some more surprisingly relevant motor-themed discussion.